What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Partially Cultured Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Isaac and Alan.
How's it going, guys?
How's it going, guys?
And don't forget to check out our website, partiallycultured.com. All our social media links are on the bottom of the page. Go check us out. Leave us comments. Hit the thumbs up, all the bullshit, so we get found and people can see our content if it's something they enjoy. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is kind of a little different. It's not a current event. It's not a real thing. Maybe. We're going to talk about mythological beasts. To start this off, let's talk about probably the most famous, at least in the United States. Let's talk about Bigfoot.
El Bigfoot.
Anybody not know what a Bigfoot is?
I mean, I think we all have an idea of what Bigfoot is. Now the question is, what is Bigfoot?
Well, I think the question even before that is, does Bigfoot exist? Or if it's a pack of Bigfoots, is it Big Feet?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
Bigfoots.
Big Feetses.
The big feet. All right. So, I mean, typically, this kind of thing is going to be something that I'm going to be skeptical about. Like, the Bigfoot, in this day and age, how could he exist? There's just too many cameras. I mean, maybe like 50 years ago, when this was way more, I guess, it was maybe way more popular in the media in general, like more movies and stuff were made about Bigfoot. And it was hyped up a lot more. Maybe back then because you didn't have cameras everywhere. You didn't have, I don't know, you'd have video out in the woods and such.
Well, to kind of the flip side of that coin, though, is if you go out on YouTube now, it's actually made sightings more. They have like drone footage and stuff now of Bigfoots.
My whole thing is like, it's not crazy to believe that there's the possibility of some other freaking ape that's a great ape that's just like
it's not crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's what makes it so interesting. It's like
it's not sane.
Well, I mean, I'm not sitting here thinking I'm not going out hunting. I'm not going to go hunting for Bigfoot. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being that it was like just like this dwindling population of like bipedal, apes that was just fucking in the Northwest somewhere. You know what I mean? Like shit, there's way weirder things. So, I mean,
So I guess does our concept of what Bigfoot is does it make sense, and do you think it exists?
My whole thing with Bigfoot is like, so what? Like, so what? Like, it's not like it does anything fucking cool. You know what I mean? It's not like it's some intelligent fucking creature or some shit that we're aware of. Like, there's stories of there's just this big fucking ape that just walks around the woods.
This like big thing that just tears around in the woods and it walks around people.
Yeah, it's like it's fucking teleporting or something. Like what is
it knocks on trees.
It makes weird.
It doesn't even eat anybody. But
I think it's the sense of not knowing. It's the human nature of your brain wants to know. Anything you don't know is scary to you or something you want to find out.
I can understand that.
Think about it though. If something exists out there that is that smart to elude people as often as as we supposedly think it does, and that it's like somewhat like it's I don't ever see them say, hey, this thing's like out there rampaging and killing people or anything or stealing.
Well, I mean, does it really elude people though, or does it just stay still? I mean, it's got a built-in ghillie suit,
right?
Not only that, but it's like a lot of creatures don't have to be intelligent to avoid us. Like they can hear you, they can smell you. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to be super smart to just be like, oh, this thing's dangerous. Whenever I smell this thing, you stay the fuck away from it. Or I hear this thing, you stay the fuck away from it. And it's like, it's in its best interest to survive, to stay away from it, right? If it's something that's lived there for forever, I'm sure they've had encounters, with the natives from way back when, and it's, slowly figured out to stay away from humans. Like, it's just like, it'd be more interesting to me if it was like it was a lizard man or some crazy shit, right? Like it's a fucking monkey. Like it's just it's a gorilla, right? It's like there's an American gorilla that's in the woods somewhere. It's like, so the fuck what? That's why I never really got super interested about it. Like I love the movie. What was that? Harry Henderson's was great.
I think that's what makes it interesting is if there's something like that can avoid us and evade us for, with that set of skills or whatever, that skill set, because especially nowadays with, like I said, with all the cameras, the recording devices that are out there in the woods, the infrared, helicopters, everything else that's out there, like it actually makes it more, I don't know, more intriguing if it is able to avoid you and it exists. Now, if it doesn't exist, then obviously it doesn't.
Well, if it doesn't exist, everybody that's seen one, are they all lying, or are they all drunk in the woods, or are they seeing something else? What are they seeing?
Yeah, cause there has been an inordinate amount of like sightings and people saying they've seen it or heard it or experiences. Yeah, I
will say this: most of the time when I'm in the woods and I'm camping, there's alcohol involved. I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I'm just saying, let's set the precedence for people that are out in the woods camping.
Yeah.
So.
And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
And if you're thinking about Bigfoot or you're going to a place to look for Bigfoot and then you get intoxicated on top of it, then you all of a sudden start hearing shit or thinking things.
And Jimmy Bob, you don't realize that Jimmy Bob is not with y'all, and he's out in the forest banging rocks together and crap.
Yeah, just to fuck with you guys. Yeah.
I remember my dad taking a snipe hunting.
Oh yeah, the good old
anybody doesn't know what a snipe hunt is.
What the hell's a snipe?
It's
like
so
a make believe bird.
No, there's a real bird called a snipe.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a.
We'll take you sometime, I think. Aaron and I will take you snipe hunting.
Right. It's I would say it's kind of like a.
It's a rite of passage.
Rite of passage into manhood. When your dad takes you out in the woods and you go with his buddies and their kids, and they all the grown folks send you on a snipe hunt, out in the woods.
You have to hunt for the elusive snipe.
Yep.
Oh, this is like the shit from fucking
It's like from King of the Hill.
No, Up.
Oh, I can't remember it Up, but
I don't remember what the hell.
But yeah,
they're literally looking for a bird called a snipe, and they go to like Argentina or some shit, and then they try to find this bird. Anyway,
well,
was that what it was called? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, there is a real bird called a snipe, but it's just a joke. Like you basically send the kid out.
Yeah, it's for the dads to sit around the campfire and drink beer and crack up at their kids. It's kind of like sending your kid into AutoZone and having them buy you blinker fluid.
Yeah, windshield washer.
I think I got my sister with that one time. I told her she need to get blinker fluid.
So
windshield oil.
Is it?
I don't know. There's another one too.
Is it the muffler bearings?
Yeah, exactly. All those things.
Are all these sightings just somebody's buddy out there fucking with them?
I think there's a possibility that maybe someone did see something a long time ago. You know what I mean? And it was an actual creature that lived out there, or maybe they saw a bear or some shit that was really skinny. And then they was walking on two legs, and they kind of it slowly devolved and turned into what it is now. Or maybe there was
more than likely it's either a creature that they just couldn't see well for whatever reason, like you're saying, a bear, or maybe it was a gorilla or something like that. It just doesn't belong in the area. Or it's somebody playing a trick on their buddies or whatever.
Or someone.
But there have been instances where they found like footprints,
maybe
they couldn't identify.
People trying to make money. They're trying to do like Bigfoot, tourist attractions and shit.
Well, that and sell their castings, as real Bigfoot things. And my logical brain kicks in here, and if they exist, why haven't we found a carcass?
Yeah,
it's also
like comes to my mind.
Where
things could eat them, especially if they're rare. It depends on how rare they are, and
if
they are indeed very rare.
Are they intelligent enough to be burying they're dead?
Maybe
That's a good question too.
Or maybe they're just super remote. Like a lot of the places where the people say they see them, they're not like it's not like the the best.
Well, they're not at the Costco.
Yeah,
but
it's like if you're like some of these forests can get super duper dense. You know what I mean? Like to the point where like it's impossible to even navigate or walk through them. You know what I mean? Like I could see them just being so far away from where anyone could possibly reach, or roads or cell phone signals or anything. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just in the middle of fucking nowhere, hundreds of miles away from anybody or something. So
could it be a related primate from a different, from further down the line or something that just happened to, the only way that they recognized that their kind was going to be able to exist was to avoid humans at all costs. They just keep pushing themselves into a more secluded area.
Well, they're kind of running out.
Everybody else that came into contact with the Homo sapiens pretty much died. I mean, all the other variants of Homo erectus or whatever, they all died or got incorporated into the bloodline.
Yeah,
assimilated. So maybe they're not a species that can tie in with ours, but they're smart enough to avoid us, because they've seen what happens when you go to war with the humans. Like, freaking kill them.
It's those damn thumbs. Top of the food chain, baby.
Well, and what if it's like a normal sized person, but they're just wearing a ghillie suit, or something like that? You know what I mean? Like,
is there any like Native American lore about Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever? Like, is there like some kind of like?
I think there would have to be, because I think Sasquatch is a native word.
Okay, that makes it a little more.
I don't know if it's like an Iroquois word or something, but I think that some of the ideas of Sasquatch came from like the upper Northwest. Like Oregon and Washington area, Canada.
Yeah, I want to say it's Northwest.
Okay.
But I don't know.
But I mean it goes other places too. We would talk about the Yeti. I mean the Yeti being a descendant or a kin to Bigfoot. It's just white, and it's in lives in the snow.
The common
makes sense if you think about polar bears versus grizzly bears. I mean, they're pretty much identically the same, except for one's white and one's like dark brown, essentially.
Yeah, maybe it could be the same species.
They can even mix. They can interbreed.
Yeah, I know. We play Zoo Tycoon, and you could put polar bears in with the grizzly bears. And
what if?
It's fine. I mean, it's got to be true. It's in Zoo Tycoon.
Yeah, exactly. It's gotta be
that true. The common thing that they always say is like they hit sticks, right? Like you hear banging sticks and yelling and whelping. That kind of leads itself to like them trying to make people run away, right? Like it's like when we when we are trying to scare something away, we yell, we scream, and make noise.
It's their rattlesnake.
Yeah,
they're shaking their tail.
Tell them to get the hell away.
Best get on, playa.
I don't know, man. When I'm camping, whether I'm drinking or not, if I hear some noise in the woods, freaks me out. A lot of times it just happens to be like a little raccoon or a swarm of raccoons coming around. But
it doesn't freak me out if it's like twigs breaking or leaves shaking or nothing like that. But if some of this shit I see on YouTube where it's like, whoa, that would probably piss my pants.
Like the moose make the mooses.
I mean,
make noise, and
animals make a lot of weird ass sounds too, man. And to the uninitiated, they could just be freaking out. Like foxes apparently make some crazy weird sound when they're fucking. You know what I mean? And they make like some weird sound. Apparently, I never heard it, but people say it's super unsettling.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows? What if it's like a mountain lion that's just getting it on? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if it's like two big cats?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
clawing each other trying to get at it.
We were talking about it the other day in Oklahoma. Every Saturday at noon they blow the tornado sirens, and I was talking to my kids. I'm like, I wonder what people that don't usually have tornadoes in their states, come to Oklahoma and they hear that on Saturday. I bet they freak out.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? It's an air raid.
Everybody else is like, oh, it's a normal test. It's noon or whatever, and they're like, oh, geez, let's get under freaking desks or something.
Yeah. Exactly. So, what do we think? Bigfoot exists?
I mean, it's definitely possible. If it is, it's a dwindling species that's like seems peaceful.
Isaac, what do you think?
Well, I think that I don't think it exists, but I like the idea of it. There is a lawmaker that introduced a bill. I don't think it passed, but here in Oklahoma, where you can, uh, they proposed like a hunting season for them, and also like a $3 million bounty on him if you bring him
Who is
alive.
it? Who is it?
It's a Sasquatch.
Do you have a Bigfoot in your house, Alan?
Yeah,
Alan?
he's got somebody talking.
Oh, he looks mad. He's angry. He's gonna run him off.
He's in trouble.
Sasquatch isn't running him off. He's running the Sasquatch off.
Don't say that.
Oh.
You get canceled.
Sorry,
All right, we'll get rid of the Sasquatch.
it was my daughter.
So, do I think? No, I don't think Bigfoot exists. At least in the concept that we know of.
Okay.
But
No, Bigfoot does not exist. If Bigfoot exists, we would have undeniable proof. It ain't it. I mean, there's so many hunters out and stuff every year, and yeah. All the videos on the internet are filmed with a potato. I mean, really.
It's the same way I feel about aliens. So.
I mean, these cameras nowadays. I mean, my camera has 100 megapixel zoom, 1,000 whatever. Come on, they're all grainy and shit.
I highly doubt they exist, but I also won't rule it out just because it's not even that crazy to me. So,
I think it's fun. I think it's it's entertainment to look the stuff up and stuff like that. But we ain't gonna find one. All right, so let's talk about Loch Ness. Let's talk about the Loch Ness monster. Does the Loch Ness monster exist?
is there another one that's pretty much the same thing as Loch Ness? It's like, but it's in America. What is it called?
Yeah, it's Lake Champlain. I think they call it Champ.
I mean,
yeah,
that's not like sea creatures in general are some of those things where it's like I could see it being a thing that exists, right, or that existed at some point in time, because we haven't explored all of the oceans and all of the lakes, and like we haven't been able to really scour our own planet sufficiently to really rule out shit like giant squids or sea snakes or mermaids or any of this other crazy bullshit that people say that they exist in the oceans. But like, so something like Loch Ness I could see existing, like,
but it's not in an ocean.
That's that's what I was getting to. It was like, but the creature that's in Loch Ness and in Lake Champlain, though I think it's possible those creatures could have existed in other areas, for them to still be in those spots, I just don't see how the fuck you would not find them. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not the ocean. You know what I mean? Like,
so
someone couldn't go on a submarine.
Big. Loch Ness is 22 square miles.
Yeah.
Average depth, or its mean depth, is 400 and something feet.
It's pretty damn big.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's places for it to hide. It's not like Lake Hefner here in the city where the depth is 70 feet.
You couldn't just drop a few subs and do some of that fucking radar bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like someone needs to do something.
Done it. They've trolled out there with sonars and stuff under boats.
Yeah.
Here's my thing on this one. There are live stream cameras up 24 hours a day on the lot. Nobody's seen this damn thing on the camera.
Maybe it's dead, man.
This thing is.
It knows.
It died.
This thing's been thinking about this for 20 million years or whatever. It knows how to hide. I don't know.
What if it was just like a duck?
Is it possible?
A duck?
Like someone fucked up. It was like a swan was like, you know that picture they always show, right? Where it's like the.
Well, they show how that was recreated. The guy that did it was paid to do that, I believe.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, that was a fake picture all along.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so then what the fuck?
It's kind of like the Bigfoot footage in California that everybody has seen.
Yeah,
that was faked.
But there's accounts of things happening. Like weird things happening, boats capsizing in the middle of the Loch Ness,
sure,
or whatever. And they didn't have any idea what else it could be. Now maybe it's just a big shark or something, because they do have freshwater sharks and they also have saltwater sharks that move into rivers and become kind of
Yeah.
freshwater. Same thing with whales. They've had whales
Gonna need a bigger boat.
use the same paths.
Shit, there's fucking catfish that get super huge. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, but we're talking Loch Ness monster. They're talking how big is it?
but it's not
40 feet
capsizing.
long or 30 feet long or something.
It's not capsizing fucking yachts. It's like rowboats and canoes and shit.
Well,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like,
True.
I mean,
So
Yeah, I mean, could it happen? I think that it's a possibility that something like that could be in there, but the likelihood of it being in there with, again, like one of them would have had to die, and we would have seen some bones or something come up. You know what I mean? Like a body float to shore.
not necessarily.
There'd be
If
some
the
kind
other,
of
all the
evidence,
other,
I would
if all
think.
the other fish ate it, I would be more inclined to believe that there's a Loch Ness monster than I would a Bigfoot.
really?
Because we're talking murky 400 watt, 400 feet deep water. I mean, that's not something you can just look out and go like this, and you can't track it down. You can't use a drone.
But it's
You know,
only 22 square miles. Bigfoot could
That's
be in like
big.
and you don't think the roaming area of the entire fucking northwest of the entire country is
It's
big?
huge, but there's only one Loch Ness monster. There's supposed to be many Bigfeetses.
We don't know how many Bigfeet. It could be one fucking Bigfoot or two Bigfoot.
In
or something.
every state? What does he migrate?
Yeah, what if a motherfucker just running around? He's just walking around. Yeah, you don't know.
There's
I'm just saying.
forests in almost every state. He can find. A way.
Yeah.
There's one Bigfoot. Okay. All right, fine.
I mean,
Maybe
we'll
there
talk about like
is. I
there's a
don't know.
sighting 1 year in 1970, some bullshit. He's in fucking in Seattle or where the fuck he's at. He's like in Washington. He's like, fuck that. We gotta move somewhere else. And he goes, fucking move somewhere else. I mean, he migrates.
Or
He's
he might be like the Predator, where he has that
Radar.
cloaking device thing.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
So
That's
there's one Bigfoot.
who knows.
Maybe there's 50 Loch Ness monsters. Maybe
Yeah.
Champ is
All
Loch
22.
Nessy's cousin.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And he used his little flippers to flap up on land and get over to Lake Champlain.
So Champ, I would think, has a less capability of existing just because it's so inland, right? I mean, like, I don't know.
I don't either.
That'd be kind of that'd be probably a stretch there.
I even though I said I would be more inclined to believe that there's a Loch Ness monster than a Bigfoot. No, there ain't no damn Loch Ness monster either. So again,
What if the Loch Ness monster isn't this gigantic sea creature that we all think is like this huge monster or whatever? Like, what if it's like Isaac said, it's just like a fucking fish. It's just it's like a big fish or a big like some kind of like porpoise or something. You know what I mean? And it's just like that. It hasn't been.
I don't think it's a porpoise.
We don't know. Like we don't.
That's pretty.
Well, if that image is fake, right?
Well, yeah, we don't know.
And then we don't know what it looks like. And if we don't know what it looks like, and they're all we're going from is like there's a creature that sometimes fucks with our boats and stuff, and we don't know what it is, and it's like okay, so it could just be literally a big fish. It could just be like this gigantic catfish or something, or like a huge fucking trout or some bullshit, like some aquatic creature that just is larger than normal, and it's just like the biggest one in the area,
biggest goldfish ever. Or
yeah, and it's just
So
like in the water.
It's described like the one you were talking about earlier. I've got the Wikipedia article up here that Mokele Mbembe, meaning for one who stops the flows of rivers, is a water-dwelling entity that supposedly lives in the Congo River basin. Sometimes described as a living creature, sometimes as a spirit. Those that heard of the allegedly saw the entity describe it as a large quadrupedal herbivore with smooth skin, a long neck, and a single tooth, sometimes said to be a horn. So, I mean, that's pretty much how they describe Nessy. Smooth skin, long neck.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's...
Mokele Mbembe is supposed to be like a dinosaur that lives in the Congo.
Well, I mean,
You know
that's kind of like...
Nessy. But Nessy is only in the water. Like Mokele Mbembe or whatever gets out of the water. It looks like a brontosaurus, just like a smaller brontosaurus or something. So like, yeah, it can go in the water, but it doesn't live in the water predominantly, right? So it's like, and I'm way more inclined to believe that shit might exist. The Congo's like some unruly jungle. You know what I'm talking about? Like that's just some crazy, completely like no one's ever been able to.
Uninhabited, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have tribes of people that still live there. They haven't talked to people. You know what I mean? Like there's no one's been able to break to get in there and do anything.
But there's a McDonald's and an Amazon warehouse there. You can bet your ass.
And I was
Walmart.
Yeah.
I was watching
in the middle of the freaking Congo
an episode of Rogan, and David Cho is like this famous graffiti artist. He did like the original offices for Facebook, and he made like $200 million off of it or whatever because he got stock instead of got payment for it. But I guess when he was like a kid, he was like a kind of a troublemaker, and he left home and was like hitchhiking around the world. And for some reason, when he was in Europe, he got it in his head. He heard about this story about Mokele Mbembe, and he decided he wanted to go to the jungle, right, and like go see it. Like he had dreams about about discovering this dinosaur that lives in the Congo. So he just fucking like scrounges up some money and goes to the Congo, not knowing anything about it or how to get it or getting any guides or anything. Just goes there, fucking, with no money in his pockets, like 18 to 20-year-old kid, Asian kid. And it just walks off into the fucking Congo jungle with some guy some German guy that he met in town or whatever, and gets lost for like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually he gets found by like some tribe that's down there, like some pygmy tribe or something is what he called them. And they told them that, yeah, they've seen the creature before, and the creature's real or whatever. So it's like, I'm not saying there's real. Obviously they think he could be making it up. He could just be saying some bullshit.
Don't they like lick poison frog foam and stuff there, though?
I have no idea what they do or don't.
Hallucinogens.
And they could have just been yanking his chain, right? Like, what if it's like their spirit?
Right?
Yeah, their joke. Like, oh, let's mess with
look at this gringo.
Yeah, exactly. But I know the French try to inhabit the Congo and like settle it for a long time. They couldn't. Like a lot of industrialized nations are trying to go there and fucking take over the jungle and move into the jungle, and the jungle is just like that. They always say like that area of jungle is just so like inhospitable. Like it destroys everything. It grows into your foundations. It destroys structures. Like there's no way to keep it in check. It's just unruly. You know what I mean? Like
the jungle takes back everything.
Yeah, like it just grows back and consumes everything that you try to clear away or make space for.
I just got the image of like Jumanji when those freaking lions are taking over everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally the picture I got in my head.
Places like the Congo and stuff, I can't imagine what if you just had X-ray vision, or if you could just clear the land, just how much crap is in there. I mean, missing airplanes and freaking probably civilization structures. Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean,
maybe Bigfoot exists there. I mean,
they've done scans over like the Amazon, right? Where there's parts of the Amazon that are like that too, where they like people have never gone, right? Like, or people we don't know of any people that have gone there, and they have literal tribes of people that have never met, like the civilized world or whatever. Like, so it's like, and they've done scans over parts of the Amazon, and they're like, oh, there's structures underneath the jungle, right? And you hear about like when the conquistadors first went over there and they landed and they first seen, the natives, they were like, oh, there was huge cities and a whole, swaths of gold everywhere and like huge structures. And there was like the entire continent was, like roads and buildings and shit. And then they drop off smallpox unknowingly and then leave.
Right.
And then they come back fucking 20 years later and everything's gone. And the jungle consumed it all. And it's like, fuck around. That shit can happen. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's legitimate, like, full-blown cities under some of these jungles.
I mean, have you ever had an ivy plant?
Yeah, bro.
That shit will take over everything, and it's quick. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I wanted to put a time lapse on what I had growing out in front of my house when I lived in the country, because I swear within 3 days, that thing grew 4 feet. It was like...
Yeah. Now imagine, like...
That's some radioactive shit.
Yeah. Now, imagine that on crack, and then there's like 1,000 different,
Different variations of that
Yeah.
grow just as fast. Yeah, it's nuts.
And then it's super thick and it's remote, and there's no way to get to it, no water or
you don't
air.
Want to fall asleep because by the time you wake up, you're all tangled up in vines.
Can't land a helicopter. You know what I mean? You can't. A bunch of the rivers in the Amazon specifically, like they're not permanent. Like when there's monsoons, they're there. When there's no monsoons, they're not there. Or whatever. Like when they have, or the tributaries like branch off and go different directions. So it's like there's probably cities that you can't even get to, or that they maybe you can't get to except for certain times of the year or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the river doesn't exist. So it's like I believe that. That's why I'm like, whenever I hear about shit like that where it's in jungles, I'm way more likely to believe that there's a possibility.
Yeah, you could tell me anything was out there, and I'd be like, well, shit, maybe. I've never been there. So, all right. How about dragons? Here's my thought.
All right.
Dragons have been in cultures, many different cultures in some form or fashion, for so long. It would be hard for me to believe that at some point, something like a dragon didn't exist sometime.
I mean, there's so many different variations to dragons. You know what I mean? That's the other thing, too. It's like, not only were they in, like, all over the world, different cultures, different continents, but it's like, there's water dragons, there's air dragons, there's the long, like Asian type ones, there's the fire breathing European ones, like there's
the treasure guarders.
Yeah, there's so many different variations on dragons or wyverns because they're kind of the same deal. It's like I could see it. I can see it being a thing, even if it's like some shit where it's like a dinosaur that just never died off, right? Like it's just like a dinosaur that lived longer than we really realistically expected it to, or some shit. And we have gigantic lizards now. Like some of the crocodiles get massive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not. I mean, from what I can tell, though, we're not talking dragon size.
No,
when I think dragons, I'm thinking Game of Thrones type shit.
No, I feel you. What I'm saying is like we already have reptiles that get large, and we know for a fact that dinosaurs existed and dinosaurs were fucking massive. You know what I mean? So it's not crazy to me to think that like fucking couple thousand years ago there was some big ass fucking lizards walking around. You know what I mean?
But again, I don't think anybody's ever found any dinosaur or any dragon bones either.
Well, what would you classify as a dragon? Like some people would say,
like Game of Thrones shit, breathing fire.
We have
freaking flying lizards.
We wouldn't know if it breathed fire, and what if it was just like what they considered a dragon was just like a pterodactyl or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, how do we know?
To throw a wrench in, like just to keep the possibility is that even like the T-Rex and some of the other dinosaurs that we grew up with, or like the Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus thing,
supposed to be feathered.
A lot of those, they were put together in places that didn't actually belong, and so once they actually, now they're finding out that like, oh, some of these things didn't have the long necks or as long a neck as they thought. They just put them in those places because they thought it made sense or whatever. Like they're actually going back and removing a lot of the species that we as when we were kids grew up with, because they're not real. They weren't actually, they were fabricated. I mean, the ideas of them were partially correct, but not completely. So like we might not even find bones for something that existed like that, just because they're mixed in with everything else out there.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And if you think something like a dragon, right? Like let's say a dragon ate a bunch of like it's a gigantic thing, right? It was a huge predator, and it consumed a whole bunch of fucking creatures, right? I would assume it ate a bunch of fucking cows and a bunch of other shit, and then it eventually somehow dies. Like, what's to say that its lair isn't just littered with bones? You know what I'm saying? Or wherever it died isn't just littered with bones that it gets mixed into, like its remains get mixed into all these other remains of things that it killed. And then when they finally unearth it, if they ever unearth it, it would be damn near impossible to kind of piece it together and be like, oh, this is the creature, like Isaac was saying. Like they piece it together, like, oh, it's a fucking
it'd be one hell of a puzzle for sure.
Yeah. Not only that, but like where you think about where dragons have historically supposedly like nested, they're always like super difficult to reach locations, like top of mountains,
side of mountains and stuff.
Yeah, it's like places where people aren't even going to do excavating and archaeology and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
seemed like they were very remote. Very remote creatures.
I mean, that can definitely be one explanation why we haven't found it.
I find it hard to believe that there wasn't at some point something like a dragon, just because of how ubiquitous they are across the world.
I agree. I'm the same with you, and I don't think they probably really breathed fire. I mean, I think that probably came down from like they had really bad breath or something. I mean, that's how it translated.
Or maybe just like breath was hot. You know what I mean? Like, because they were so huge. Like when you breathe, when you exhale or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it felt like, oh my god, I got blasted with this heat.
Or maybe they were really small and we just made them bigger.
There ain't no telling.
Yeah,
like it's like a chicken sized thing, and we made it out to be this huge, 20-foot monster.
Crazier things have happened.
But you're right. I mean, you see evidence of it in every culture. I don't know if that's because it was all disseminated when all the cultures were very, very heavily, together. Like, let's say, 5,000 years ago, there was much more. I mean, there was fewer people out on the outskirts of the world. A lot more of those cultures were in Europe and Asia and such, right? And maybe collectively they spread the idea of this dragon, and then as it expanded, they just brought that with them wherever they went.
Well, I mean, that's also adds to the notion of like our idea and our understanding of how we actually populated the globe is like in dispute, right? Like there's that whole
we don't know.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people that were like, oh, we went through the Bering Strait and then they colonized America and they went down, and then now they're like, oh wait a second, apparently the Polynesians had been hitting South America for thousands of years, and like people from Africa were going over to South America from the other end for a hot minute. So it's like we don't even fucking know how we populated the our own globe. So there's no telling how these stories got around.
There are there's some kind of stones or whatever in Oklahoma that have Viking marks on them from like AD 500 or something like that. So like they were already here way before we thought that they were here, and I don't know what they were doing, but
just kicking it.
Yeah. But so I mean, it's not crazy to think the stories spread from from some, but that still doesn't change the fact that there was probably something that led to the stories. Because a lot of this shit starts, comes from somewhere. It's not like someone just there's some kind of nugget of truth to it somewhere.
Yeah,
we have some big lizards like in the some of those Asian countries, right? Like the
Komodos,
like the Gila monster, the Komodo dragon, some of those others that. I mean, they're pretty big. I mean, don't they get like 5-6 feet long? Maybe bigger?
They're pretty decent size, 100 pounds, something like that.
I mean, I could see Godzilla's like generic shape or whatever in something like that.
Yeah. Oh, so I mean, dragons probably don't exist now. Did they? Maybe. That's my take.
Or something that at least fostered the idea of or the concept of it. Definitely, I think.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the mythological creature that we think of now, though. I mean, I don't think it would.
No, I don't think it's Game of Thrones shit. I don't think they flew and spit fire and balls.
They might have had wings, but weren't able to fly like pigeons or something.
Well, dragons are badass. So
pigeons can fly.
Dragons are badass. So
generally, I like dragons. So it would be cool to see if they existed.
I like how we're sitting here like
done that up.
We were like, Bigfoot. No, that's bullshit. Fucking dinosaur creatures that live in the jungle. Nah, that's fucking bullshit. Water creatures, bullshit. Dragons, maybe. Maybe
dragons now.
It's like you can smell the bias. it's like we like dragons. Dragons are cool.
You can tell what genre of games and TV and stuff we like.
Skyrim is not my favorite game, guys.
I've never seen Game of Thrones. Yeah. But yeah, dragons are cool. I think that's probably what, I mean, I think you hit on something there. That's probably what keeps the intrigue of dragons going. Because dragons are fucking cool.
Yeah.
Chupacabras ain't that fucking cool. Bigfoot's just out yelling, in the woods. Not that cool. Big ass pigeon pterodactyl breathing fire. That's pretty freaking cool.
And it's like there's all those interpretations of like them. Some of them are intelligent, some of them aren't. You know what I mean? Like they're like some of them are, like they can shapeshift into humans or not. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different. Some can breathe fire, some can't. Like there's water ones, there's air ones. Like there's different elemental shit. Like it gets really deep. So like they have a huge tapestry of dragon lore, and
there's a lot. Yeah. Well, that kind of ties into the idea of like sea monsters and stuff like that. You see depictions of ships being pulled down into the sea.
Krakens.
Like a large kraken.
I believe
dragon.
I think the kraken's real. I don't know about you guys, but I think we've seen like pretty large squids wash up ashore. There's no fucking way that at some point in time there wasn't. They were already massive as it is. There's no way that there wasn't some large ass squids that are the larger the ones that we've already seen wash up ashore.
If they can get like 100 foot long, then they probably can get 200 foot long.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're like a fish. Here's my thing: fish are like anything in the sea is like a fish tank, right? They're gonna only grow as big as their environment lets them. And if you're in the ocean, you can get pretty damn big.
Yep. And the thing is, if you think about like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, they didn't have to worry about microplastics and fucking oil fucking leaks and all kinds of other bullshit fucking up their habitat or as many 7 billion humans eating all the food. You know what I'm saying? Like
I like bull.
Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that a few hundred years ago even there was definitely something that was Kraken size because we've seen nowadays shit that's pretty massive wash up. So I could definitely see a gigantic ass squid just chilling out a few hundred years ago.
I don't know if there's a Kraken, but yeah, a big ass squid or
huge squid. Not something we control.
Octopus, something like that. But
most of the beaks so the biggest colossal squid beaks that they found or whatever, or like the evidence of them have been inside of sperm whales' guts, like their stomachs and stuff, and they give you the idea of them being about 30 feet long or whatever. 30 foot squid is fucking huge. Like I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
1,500 to 2,000 pound freaking.
The largest giant squid ever recorded by scientists was almost 43 feet long.
43 feet. See, that's ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a big ass squid.
And that's nowadays. Like imagine 300 years ago when there was a shit ton of fish in the water. And then fuck around. Let's just say it got to 100 feet. That's large enough for the stories to come. Like you see a 100-foot squid coming out the water, fucking grabbing sailors and shit. Like I can see that. I can see people be like, that's enough to start a legend, is what I'm saying.
If it's 2 or 3 tons, I mean, yeah, taking down a boat is probably not a big deal. I mean, that's at that point.
Especially when it's like literally just grabbing it and just pulling it down.
43 feet. A 25-foot boat's a pretty decent sized boat. It's probably not a galleon, out there on the ocean, but a 40-foot squid, you can take down a 25-foot boat. It's bigger than the whole damn boat. I mean,
and those things they're strong, man. You know what I mean? And then
I don't know. I've never wrestled a squid, but
even just like a regular size like octopus or whatever, like they like the strength that they have in those limbs, and now imagine that just multiplied 100-fold or whatever. Like I can see that. So
we're all in agreement.
Yeah, they definitely.
Krakens
if they don't exist anymore, they definitely existed.
But at least
it's not even that crazy.
There's many.
I mean, there's recent proof that something that big could have existed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you think about just the size and the shape of those things, they could do some damage. And I think that they could probably, even if they just broke your sail, I mean, you're screwed at that point.
Well, here's my thing. It's enough to start a legend. They wouldn't even had to have done that. They could have just bumped into the hull of the boat and ripped a hole in it.
Yeah.
And the legend would have grown from there.
Yeah.
It's just like a fish story. Like the squid was ripping sailors off the poop deck and ripping down the mast, and all it did was bump the damn boat and put a hole in it.
Yeah.
You mentioned the suckers on the freaking.
They're huge.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be grabbed by one of those.
Wow, yeah, that would suck.
You've been pulled into the water, being.
I'm good. I'm good, bro. And it's all inking all over you.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing too. Is like if you think about that, adds to
not
it.
Scared of you, so
Because
if it's do that.
If it's inking the area, that obscures the full size of it, the full scale of it. You know what I mean? So people could even make it like just freak out even more and be like, "Oh my god, it was fucking 3,000 feet or whatever."
Yeah. All right. So at least mini krakens exist now, and at some point there may have been major krakens.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I think we're in agreement there.
Yeah, I think we're going to call it there too. I think we there's some other things we could talk about. I think we'll leave them for another episode though. If people like this one, we'll go look at some other stuff, give our thoughts and opinions on them.
Yeah, tell us if you think some of these creatures don't exist or do exist, and what your reasoning is for it. Maybe give us some, or maybe we missed some of your popular, like most favorite creatures, or something you think is cool. Maybe you can give us a comment. We can make an episode on it.
We talked about dragons. Dragons are the fucking coolest.
Yeah, but maybe someone wants to talk about Wendigos or some shit. You know what I mean?
All right, bring it. Put it in the comments. Wendigos and chupacabras and all that shit. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one. Hit up our website, partiallycultured.com. Leave comments on the YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks.
Bye, y'all.